There will put a little epitaph on my tombstone that says he made good food in an airport. That is the, I think that's what I will be most known for. It's really interesting how when you go into a place where the bar is set so low, how appreciative people are when you bring them the slightest bit of goodness. So thank you all for visiting us at the airport. I'm in a very short amount of time trying to sketch out how I got to where I am now and how all of these wonderful people on the stage have played a role in all of that. So 28 years ago, tomorrow, we opened Frontera Grill. And we did that in a town that was pretty much ruled over by Let Us Entertain You and Levy, two big restaurant corporations. I knew of only one other chef that had his own restaurant. The rest of the chefs in town were working for somebody else who had the concept of the restaurant. And I wanted to be a chef-owned restaurant, and people didn't even know what that meant back in those days. I had also moved back from Mexico, having lived there for quite some time, and I wanted to settle in Chicago, where my wife's family is, and I had spent the last 5 years researching Mexican food in Mexico, traveling to every state in the Republic, and learning about the local cuisines from people who were making it in small family restaurants, in marketplaces and street stalls. I had written a book, it was in press, and I finally decided that I wanted to go back to my family roots. I grew up in the restaurant business, and I wanted to open a restaurant that made the kind of food that I had learned about when I was in Mexico, knowing full well that that was going to be an uphill battle because you say Mexican to most people in the United States, especially 28 years ago, and they think, oh, it's that stuff that's all one color, all one texture, and covered in melted cheese. And that's kind of the state of Mexican food 28 years ago. Since then, things have changed a fair amount, but we were starting off in this era that fajitas had become the new craze, and so people thought, oh, that's the authentic Mexican food because we haven't heard of it before, not really knowing that that came from South Texas. So we opened up Frontera Grill, and what I had learned when I was in Mexico is that all the great pockets of wonderful regional food all came from the places that had the best local agriculture. So I started casting about to see what local farms perhaps I could partner with and do something that would be distinctive, because I needed to stand out from the big corporations that had more buying power than I did. I couldn't find any. We had not one farmer's market in the city of Chicago. There were a few farm stands, hour and a half, 2 hours away from Chicago, that I could go and visit during the growing season, but I got really discouraged and really depressed. Over the next 3 years, I tried to find some people that I could partner with that would help me to actually bring the sense of the farm into it, local product into it, because I thought, how in the world can I be stuck here in Chicago trying to do great food if I don't have any local source? There's no good local agriculture. So I found a farm. It went out of business at the end of the first season. I found another farm. It went out of business at the end of the second season. I cast around and found a couple of people that would grow herbs in their backyard. We would buy some of those kinds of things, and I thought, this is just ridiculous. We got our first farmer's market. I tried to get some farmers to set some stuff aside for me, and they said, oh, you're part of the evil restaurant world, and so I won't do anything. You have to come here first thing in the morning and pick up all your stuff, or I won't save it for you. Cash on the barrelhead, no sense of working with me at all. Found that super discouraging. Went up to Madison, Wisconsin, where they had a co-op of local organic farmers, and I said, if I promise to buy $1,000 worth of produce, will you deliver it to me in Chicago? And they said, oh no, we won't come to the evil city. And it was just like one strike against us after another, after another, after another. And I was getting like really discouraged, thinking that Chicago was never going to blossom into a good food city. And then my persistence paid off, and we started having a couple of small farms that did well. We started having more farmers markets, and I started making some alliances with some farmers, and the next thing you knew, we actually started to get some local product on our menu. But I knew it was just what we call window dressing product. It was just the nice little garnish on the plate, it was the special vegetable on the plate, it was that kind of thing. And I knew that that was not a movement, that was just window dressing. So my goal was to see if we could find some partners, some farmer partners through the years that we could work with that would actually be able to produce at the level that we needed. By this point, Frontera has become super successful. We've opened Topolobampo, we've expanded into the bar area, and so we're now 3 storefronts wide, and we're doing just an amazing business. And we're starting to need more and more product. And a fellow came to us, one of the farmers that we'd been working with some spinach in February, and I said, where in the world did you get that? And he said, oh, I grew it up in my farm in Wisconsin. I said, in February? And he said, well, I know a variety of spinach that can grow in an unheated hoop house up there. And I go, I tasted it. It was amazing. Sweetest spinach I'd ever tasted. And I said to him, tell me how I can get it all. I want it all. I'll pay you ahead. I just want it all. Don't show it to another chef in town. Okay? He said, I don't have very much. You have to plant it in November, and then we harvest it in January and February and some of March. And you know, that's pretty much all I can do. And I said, well, buy another hoop house and plant it, and I'll buy all of that too. They said, I don't have the money for that. And so we said, well, what if we lent you the money and you paid us back in spinach next year? We'll just do it that way. So it's like, it'll be a win-win for everybody. And you know what? It worked. And then the next year, another farmer came to us and said, you know, we need this, and could we borrow the money and we'll pay you back in product next year? So that started our no interest loan program. It was basically you could borrow from our restaurant up to $10,000, and you had to pay it back in a year, and you could pay it back in product. And we started seeing all these farmers get much more successful, productive, and profitable. And then the next thing we did was to turn that thing into a not-for-profit 501c3, and started giving grants, raising money that we could give as grants, because we figured that a lot of our small farmers, they needed around $10,000, sometimes less, to make the next big jump in their production. And so we started the Frontera Farmer Foundation, and in the 10 years that that's been in existence as a 501c3, we've given $1.3 million in small loans, not small loans, but small grants to local farms. And I think that that's really changed. So we've decided that what we really needed to do was, if we were going to be a great food city, we as the restaurant, and because of our mission, we had to invest in that local agricultural community. And so we chose to do it the way that we've done it. Someplace along the way, we met this man here, Greg Gunthorpe, and we were buying some stuff from his neighbor, and he was a pork farmer, and we already had another pork farmer, and we got to know Greg a little bit. We liked him, and we said, but can't you grow something else? You have to just grow those pigs out there. Can't you do something else? And so we decided that what we should encourage him to do was chickens, because we didn't have a good chicken supply. A chicken supply that we really liked and wanted to be part of. So over almost a 2-year period, we worked to scale up his chicken production from just backyard stuff that they used for the family to an actual chicken production. And he started supplying all the chickens for Frontera. Then we lost our pig farmer, so he started supplying all the pork for Frontera. And we're thrilled to say that after all of this time, not only has he grown to be one of the top, largest for sure, pastured poultry farmers in the United States, but we're also now starting to be able to do all of his stuff out at the airport. So we're taking really beautiful, beautiful production, local production, and being able to put that in a very prominent place in the airports, which is sort of the first time you've ever seen anything like that go so straight from farm to airport table. So we're really happy about that. And I think that though we would hold Greg Gunthorpe